I will now come to education in the modern period. What are the challenges? What is the current situation? So in the modern period, you must have heard of somebody called Macaulay. He's now very well known, or rather quite infamous now. So he was a British official. He was also part of the Committee of Public Instruction at that time in India, and he played a key role in shaping India's education policy as we know it today. So his mission was very clear and simple. His mission was to create a class of Indians who would be Indian in blood but English in culture. So to do that, what would they have to do? They would have to learn European texts, not Indian texts. They would have to acquire European knowledge, not Indian knowledge. They would have to learn secular textbooks, not anything to do with religious textbooks. So no Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Puran, all of these were kept out of the syllabus. They would have to be governed by a centralized bureaucracy which would control the instruction that they would be given. They would have to follow the English calendar. So the holidays would not be given on the festivals. No holiday on Purnima or Amavasya. Earlier the schools had holiday on every Purnima. All the Pathshalas and Gurukuls were closed on every Purnima of every month. Or also on all the festivals, of course. But now we don't have that because we are following the English calendar. This was the kind of system that Macaulay envisioned, and yes, it got implemented because of the British rule. And over the last 100-200 years, we have been following, in essence, the system that enables us to have a European knowledge and a European taste in everything, and we are cut off from our roots, and we have become self-alienated to the extent that we don't know our texts, we don't know our knowledge systems. Today we talk about introducing a subject called Indian knowledge system. This fact itself testifies to the fact that we don't know our Indian knowledge system, that we are in a situation that we have to introduce a subject called Indian knowledge system in our curriculum, because we don't have Indian knowledge system in our curriculum. Now, in recent past, only the government has, in the recent education policy, they have come up with a provision to have Indian knowledge system as a subject in generally all institutions. And they have set up a Center for Indian Knowledge Systems. But this is now, in 2022, after more than 200 years of Macaulay, and after more than 70 years of being independent. The reason is that we were self-alienated. We got cut off from our roots. We don't know our knowledge systems. We don't know our texts. We don't know that Bodhayan's Sulba Sutras had the so-called Pythagoras theorem much before Pythagoras. And I can give you so many examples of so many texts that had very elaborate knowledge systems before the Europeans discovered them, but we don't know about it because we are not taught those texts. Yet, our traditional education somehow continues despite this Macaulayan framework. And this is a very interesting quote by Kapil Kapoor ji, because I'm using this quote because I can use this to now talk about my ongoing research work. He says that we find that the central purpose of the Hindu education system is still the same, though not explicitly recognized or supported in today's government-sponsored system of education. The Guru-Shishya Parampara still exists, and Indian knowledge systems and men of knowledge exist chiefly outside the mainstream Macaulayan framework. So he says that we still have Guru-Shishya Parampara, but it is not recognized by the state because the state is still largely following a legacy of the colonial rule. And then if we want to be true architects of our future, we must understand our past. That's why it is relevant to study the Indian education system and to study the history of Indian education.